Hello, welcome back. Today in this video, let us understand the top few topics of data engineering so that will help you clear the interviews. So these are the topics at a high level that we are going to cover in this video, which will definitely help you in kind of understanding what would be the top topics that you want to brush up or you want to be ready with before going to any data engineering interview. And this is these topics are technology agnostic. That means it is irrespective of what technology you are working in. So these topics are these key areas that you need to be aware of. So before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So basically, in this, as we were telling in this video, we will basically understand uh, the topics for the interview. Data engineering interview is not so easy. We would say if you want to crack the data engineering interview, because there is a lot of talent pool and a lot of technologies stack, and almost all top companies are looking for this niche skill. Even though it is niche nowadays, there are a lot of technology outcomes or technology certifications and the knowledge burst happening, and so many people and the field is getting more competitive. So it is always good to know what are the core topics which you must know irrespective of the technology, so that it will help you to crack the interview or brush up the topics before or mentally prepare for those topics before you actually head on to the interviews. So we will cover a few topics and starting with data modeling. So data modeling is a one of the key topic that you need to be aware of. And when you talk about data modeling, so you should be able to design schemas that are efficient, scalable, and easy to use. What that means is basically you need to build an enterprise data model which will be kind of scalable and which will be efficient enough. And when data modeling, again, it's a vast topic. It is a field of data management, and database design is involved and involving structured representation of a data, right? And how do you relate the data, uh, how to relate the tables in the information systems, so that is actually a key. And there are different types of data models, like a conceptual data model is there, logical data model, and physical data model. And it is also here, it's also important to understand the entity relationship diagrams. So I'm not going to explain in detail here, but so those are the topics you need to be clear about. And also the next comes the normalization. So when you talk about normalization, it's a process of organizing a data in a in the minimal possible redundancy and dependency issues. So it again, so there are different normal forms and also denormalization, where there are different denormalization forms also. You need to brush up the normalization forms and denormalization. How do you do those normalization and denormalizations here? And there are different tools for data engineering. There is a ERWin, Lucidchart, and simple like MySQL Workbench, Microsoft Visio. So these are the different data modeling tools you should be aware of. And so why exactly you need database? You should be aware of if there is any questions like why data modeling is required, right? So data modeling is basically it makes the things well organized, the database is stable and efficient, and the design makes it more scalable, right? And also it helps maintain the data integrity by enforcing the relationship and the different kinds of constraints between the tables. So basically it makes that data integrity or brings the data integrity in place wherever there is a business requirements or technical requirements to put in those constraints, right? And also if you actually prepare a proper data model, so that will definitely help in creating accurate or consistent business process and reporting, and also help avoid any data quality issues that might come across. And data modeling is, you need to be very sure that it's not a one time process, it's an iterative process. So you should be changing your the data modeling and the models to fit across whenever the requirement changes. So you need to be the model should be flexible enough to do that, right? So definitely this data modeling is a crucial step in designing databases and information systems. And so you need to be aware of these concepts here, right? And different concept as I was telling, right? Normalization, denormalization, and what exactly data modeling is, what is the advantages of data modeling, what are the different tools of data modeling. So that might be any kind of questions that might come across around these topics. So next, let us move to the next topic, which is one of the most discussed topic when you talk about data engineering, right? So and we have a dedicated video for ETL versus ELT, and in the top right corner you can click on that, and you can go through that video in detail. But ETL, in a nutshell, it is stands for extract, transform, and load. And you need to know how to extract the data, right? Definitely. I mean, how do you create a connection to the different source systems? That is about extractions, and what are the different connectors, right? And when you are talking about extraction, so you need to be make sure that how are you ensuring the data is connected securely, right, to the source system. I mean, you are connecting, they were establishing the connection to the source system in a secure manner, and you are pulling the data in a secure manner. So all those things will matter. And how do you transform it? So when you're talking about transformation, so there are different topics that might come in. So basically, you might consider how do you store also, right? Because the how do you store will determine how do you transform the data. Then the different topics like partitioning, bucketing might come in, right? And where exactly you store the data, whether you store in a cloud system like a data lake, which is optimized, Azure data lake, which is optimized for the big data transformations, or you might similarly choose Amazon S3 bucket, where again it is AWS proprietary storage solutions, of which exactly, I mean, has a good analytical capability when you're talking about the transformations. So that also matters, and how exactly you want to write a queries, whether you use a Spark technology, PySpark, Python, and Databricks, Snowflake. There are different kind of transformations you can use, and SQL is a main thing. So definitely you should know SQL and PySpark here when you're talking about transformation, and so that you'll be able to efficiently create a transformation queries for that. And the last one is how do you load? So how do you load into the different database systems or different storage systems? And the other important topic is data integration. So data integration is nothing but it might be just pull and push from a database to database, or from storage system to another storage system, or it might be a complex integration. Say it might be a real-time data ingestion, or it might be API driven. API driven in the sense you might integrate the your data stream to a MuleSoft API, or you might integrate with some other external API where they are exposing their application using a third-party API, right? And also you might create a data pipelines. A data pipeline is an automated workflow from source system to target systems, where you perform ingestion, transformation, and then loading in one generic pipeline. So that we call it as a data pipeline, which is an end-to-end flow. So this is a ETL, and similarly there is a ELT, which is slightly different. But the conceptually, the what we are doing is we need to understand the ETL concept, right? So this is quite important when you're attending interview for any data engineering. And a few popular technologies or the tools to mention is Oracle database, Microsoft SQL Server, Snowflake, Google BigQuery, and Amazon Redshift, and so on. So the main concept of data warehousing is write once and read multiple times, and reading is basically for the analytical purpose. So that is why it is the best suitable for OLAP analytical. It's basically built for OLAP kind of situations. It's online analytical processing, right? And moving on, The next is a cloud tech stack. So as a data engineer, you should be, the expectation here is to either this technology stack, and the recommended is you get certified in any of these technology stacks. Maybe it's Amazon, Azure, or GCP, but most preferably AWS or Azure are the main preferable tech stack for data engineers. And if you talk about AWS or Azure, so there are many. It's they themselves are very huge, but here you need to concentrate on your data engineering tech stacks. So that there is a certification, so there is a topics, there is a certifications specific for data engineering for AWS, data engineer for Azure. So you need to understand those certifications needed for data engineering, and the skills needed for data engineering, and the tech stack needed for data engineering, and basically learn them or get certified. So, and majorly you need to learn about data ingestion, right? And data ingestions to perform data ingestions, Azure and AWS has a different tools or different technologies, but underlying topics will be same. So please note, whatever we do, your data ingestion, transformation, anything, the underlying technology is more or less same, which is the Hadoop technology. But they have customized their architecture accordingly. But the underlying core concepts remains the same. And the data ingestion and data transformations, when you talk about Databricks, Snowflakes, kind of third-party vendors are collaborated with AWS, Azure, and GCP to kind of help them perform these data transformations. And also storage like Azure Data Lake, Amazon S3, and Google also have its own distributed storage system. So you need to understand those, and it is important to kind of I would recommend get certified, or also at least go through the certification so that you will understand what is needed for the preparation of data engineering interviews, or preparation of data engineering for certification, so that uh, you can concentrate on what exactly the topics are expected from you, right? So conclusion. So basically, as we did just a recap, I can just do a recap, right? So basically, as we were discussing, we started with the data modeling, and then we talked about ETL, right? And then big data technologies, data warehouse, cloud tech stack, and then we came into conclusion. So it is, as you saw, these are the basic core concepts. So if you think you are strong enough in these topics, I think you are good to go for data engineering interviews, or I would recommend you to please brush up these topics. And this video is not specific for any detailing. So here the expectation is just high level explain what the topics, but in detail you can expect videos on these topics in our channel. So I would recommend you to please subscribe. And also if you are preparing for interview, or if you are learning data engineering, all the best for that. And hope you have subscribed.